Probably. I think it automatically. I think we're being recorded.
Yeah, I think we're on.
Okay, great. Hey guys, welcome back to Manifest with Armine. My name is Armine and I'm a manifesting consultant, law of attraction coach consultant. I'm really excited today, guys, because I have Jerry EMEKA with me. He's a good friend of mine. We've been spending a lot of time together on Clubhouse. Some of you have joined us, some of you have not. So if you have not heard of Jerry before, he is an awesome teacher. He is just like me. He's a student of the law and a teacher of the law. He's an expert in Neville Goddard's teachings, and as well as other similar teachers. He's really well read on all of that good stuff. So I wanted to bring him on today and really just like have a chat with him, because it's so much fun, honestly, on Clubhouse. We have really a great group of moderators and listeners there, and the conversation's always interesting and it always goes on, honestly, for hours and hours. Even when we do our little debriefing room, and even that lasts forever because we just keep wanting to go on and on about it. So since I hadn't made a video in a while, I really wanted to bring Jerry and have you guys meet him, because most of you on here don't have Clubhouse or don't even know I'm on Clubhouse. So guys, here's Jerry EMEKA. Hi, Jerry.
Hey, Armine, how's it going?
Great.
It's cool to be on your channel.
I'm really excited that we get to see each other, because I think, as we agree, Clubhouse is easier because we get to just chill out and talk, and the whole visual effect takes a little bit more effort. But I'm glad that we decided to do this, because I can't think of a better way of rebooting my channel, or rather just making videos again than interviewing someone cool like you. So you teach Neville's work, basically, right? You kind of do what I do, we teach the same stuff. When we talk, I feel like we understand each other in that way. We see eye to eye on a lot of things. We both get a lot of the teachings, and we both really like making it clear and simple for other people. So let me ask you, I have a few questions set aside here because I would forget if I didn't write it down. So let me ask you the first question to kind of start things off.
Cool.
So what's your favorite thing about teaching the law to other people?
I think my favorite thing is, I think for the most part, it's recognizing myself in another person. And I mean, when a question is asked or an insight is made, there's always this opportunity for me to learn more about, oh, I've been in those shoes, maybe not that exact situation, but I've been there. And helping somebody through that it's wonderful. That aha moment, that spark, that ding, seeing that and experiencing that with somebody else, that's pretty fun too. So yeah, my favorite part is just going along the journey with someone. It's really cool.
Yeah, and I think you and I are also on the same page about we love teaching this stuff, and we love also just admitting that we're human and that there's nobody who doesn't experience the ups and downs, the joys, the struggles, all of it, of manifesting, of just being a conscious creator. And that's one of the things that I love about being in the community with you, is that we know what we know, and we also get to remind ourselves that when we hear it from somebody else, because I think that's one of the best things about teaching, just like you said, when you help someone else through something, when you try to make something clear for someone else, it becomes clearer for us too. So it's by default we benefit from it too. And and I think I remember hearing you say before that you really love when someone's just heard about Neville and they show up in the room. That's really exciting for you, right? Because you want to just tell them everything.
I'm like, hey, everybody, shut up. There's somebody new. Okay, so Neville Goddard is this mystic from back in the 20th century. he's a 20th century mystic, right? And he said that imagination creates reality. I did. So I remember that for the first time someone came in the room and I got, it was embarrassing. That was, I did get excited, didn't I?
but like, when someone comes and they're willing to, because obviously not everyone who hears about Neville from like the lay people, let's call them like regular people, the average person, is not going to be receptive to this stuff, because you know, you have to have the ears to hear it, like it says in the Kabbalion or in the Gospel of Thomas. So yeah, I enjoyed watching that you were like really excited when someone was like relatively pretty new to Neville, and then to just, because there's so much. Yeah.
You know where that comes from is when I discovered Neville, there wasn't really anybody who's ever heard of this guy.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, there was Wayne Dyer. That's how I heard about him.
That's what I was just gonna ask you. That was actually my next question. How did you find Neville? So yeah, please continue.
Yeah. I was listening to Wayne Dyer back in, this was May of 2014. Wayne Dyer introduced me to Neville and the Tao Te Ching. I went the Tao Te Ching route and kind of put Neville in the back burner. I was just like, okay, I don't know anything about this Neville guy. There wasn't a lot of information about him, you know, all that stuff. So I was just like, all right, I'll do Tao Te Ching. And did that. And then as I was doing that, some months later, I came back to Wayne Dyer and he said Neville again. And I was just like, let me check out this Neville guy. And then I watched this 19-minute video that said imagination creates reality. And I was like, something about that story about that girl on the rail car.
The bus. Yeah,
in San Francisco. Something about that story, just like, wait, what? Like, are you serious? This girl was crying and she just imagined she was in it was the salt water of an ocean. What? Okay, let me see here. And I ended up manifesting some amazing stuff. And I just this Neville guy, and then the way he started, he was talking about the Bible and God, I was just like, whoa. And he said that, you know, those with ears to hear, and it spoke to me on a deeper level than anything else that I've ever heard in my whole life, in my studies of how to know myself. I still read other philosophers and other mystics and all these other things. I love to read. I love history. I love to really piece out what's going on and see how it connects to me. But Neville, man, like the law and the promise, man, that right there is where I just was, who is this guy? I need to know more about him, and I want to help people understand him. I ramble on, so I apologize, but yeah, that's how I found Neville.
It's all stuff we want to hear for sure. So you have, before I go on to my next question, you have a couple friends who are pretty well known in the Neville Goddard community, right? You have a couple you call them mentors, but they're you know, they're friends, and they're actually people you and I both learned from. So one of the people who pops up sometimes in your Clubhouse room is Mr. 2020. He's awesome. He makes his little appearance all the time.
Little cameo.
He does a little cameo and leaves. So that's always fun and interesting. And you have a friendship with him, which is great. So I mean, you pretty much are really, you know, very, I want to say, like, you've thrown yourself into this. And by the way, who else do you know pretty well by now? Who's become a good friend of yours? Who?
DeCarlo and Lyndall are also good friends of mine.
Lyndall,
yeah.
So I mean, a lot of viewers know these guys. So I just wanted to mention that you're not a total stranger if I haven't heard of you yet. You're a mutual friend.
I love the Neville community. The people who've helped me along the way, are huge. I mean, you're one of them, Armine. I've told you that before. Where no, seriously.
I keep
Like,
telling you, I have a tiny channel, but I appreciate that, you know, I was
yeah.
some part of your journey.
No, of course. I mean, what really you are a huge part of my Neville journey because, you know, as I continue to study it and try to simplify it for myself, um, you know, I discovered Lyndall and did his videos and stuff. And I was like, man, it would be cool to meet him, but I didn't know how to contact him. And then one day, this YouTuber that I follow named Armine came out of the blue. She hadn't posted a video in forever. And then she like posts this video where she's interviewing Lyndall. And I'm like, oh my God, he's still alive. She's doing that. That's amazing. and from there I went on my journey to eventually meet him. But either way, you really reinvigorated that spirit to keep studying, you know, the law and the promise. So it doesn't sound like much, Armine, but really it really is. It may not sound like much, but really it really was helpful. Your work was super helpful for me. So you do need to know that.
I appreciate that. It gives me incentive to not only do this because I enjoy doing this and I would do it anyway, but that, you know, that there is it just goes to prove, just like I was saying too, it's like we touch people that we don't even know, because sometimes like the ones who, just because some people comment and some people reply and some people call us, some people work with us, that's a small percentage of the people that who hear us, you know. And a lot of people, just like we listen to a lot of people in life, whether it's Neville related or not, and things that inspire us. And the vast majority of the time, we don't tell people, hey, I heard you speak this time and it really made a difference for me. Like, we don't do that. So that's why it's important to do what you're doing, because, you know, you see the difference it makes for certain people. But you know, you made someone's day, or you changed someone's perspective on this. You taught them about the truth of what life is like, or help them understand it. And most of them we never hear about. But you know, that's why I love when you know, in Neville's lectures or Florence Scovel-Shinn's books, they'll say about the letters they received later of like things people manifested. And that was, I like that old school stuff. That's cool. The whole thing of, and I get emails sometimes too, and it's just like every once in a while it's like, wow, someone who heard us a couple of years ago, you know, is now telling us the story.
Yeah.
So yeah. I wanted to ask you, how do you incorporate Neville's teachings? How do you incorporate Neville's teachings in your everyday life? Like, how has it become a part of your daily or routine stuff?
Well, it's the way I live my life. It really is. There are times when I find myself in places where it's like I'm sinning, but like I can't blame anybody. There's a place where it's just like I can't blame anybody for what's showing up in my life. But that also means I can't praise anyone either. So how do I actually navigate a world where I can't blame and praise? And well, that's when you start to realize that, that's why I love myself. Once I actually be still and know that I am, and love and play there, and be aware and start to notice and start to be present with what is, then you're living that in your everyday. Like at any given moment, you can choose like who it is that you want to be. And I don't know if that's actually answering your question at all, but that's
the way that it becomes, you know, after a while, I think, because it becomes not about the technique so much, but about what you're doing meanwhile, like what you're doing, just the awareness, right? The awareness of what am I choosing right now? That's ultimately.
You know, I'm walking a bridge of incident right now. And it's been interesting because it takes my new move to Hawaii. And now that I've actually gone to the state I've actually experienced what I did in my imagination. I've already experienced that, right? But now that's the extended part of the journey that I continue on as we are looking for our home, as we are looking for our community of people, like the people that my son's going to play with and all this stuff. And somehow, some way, we've manifested some amazing things in our family, good, bad, and indifferent. And it's just, there's no way we could have planned any of it. And it came from an original seed that I planted months ago. And now it's playing out and I'm witnessing it, literally watching it unfold right in front of my eyes. Like we just manifested an amazing house in the valley, up the hill, in the mountains, farmland. The guy who owns the place wants to teach us how to farm, which is something that I've been wanting to manifest for years.
Wow.
And I'm just like, there's a tree that has bees in it, and that's about to fill up, and we're going to end up creating a bee box so we can actually start beekeeping, which is something my wife has been wanting to do for years.
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
So and oh my God, it's amazing, all the things that are like literally popping up in front of us, and I had no idea. I mean, I planted them years ago. I planted them months ago, but it's so interesting that right now that I took this huge leap of faith into saying, I'm putting this to the very test. I'm going to imagine being home. Now I'm home and I'm watching it unfold. It's a beautiful thing. I don't know why I brought that up, but I felt like I needed to share that.
That is currently what you're manifesting and how you're going about it. And it's interesting because, I mean, I'm not sure if you want to share the story or not, but you basically manifested and moved to Hawaii, and it was, it all just happened and it came together. And when a little while before you actually moved, you didn't even know exactly where you wanted to move to. You just knew how you wanted it to feel, right?
Right.
And yeah, so that's, how comfortable are you getting? Because I know that's something that I adjust to. How comfortable are you getting with planting your seeds and then not knowing how they're going to show up, but trusting that they will, how they will come to? Because because you and I, this, there's that moment of, yes, I know it's coming. Yes, I know it's a reality. Yes, I know I planted the seed. Yes, I'm living in the end. I know what it feels like. How good have you become at, or what are your feelings about those moments? Which leads to my next question, actually, which is, what would you say to people who are struggling, let's say, with Neville's teachings, in the sense of, I know I planted the seed, I know it's coming. How do you soothe yourself and kind of close your eyes to, the fact that we don't know how? Because you knew what home felt like. You were practicing that feeling and you know what home felt like, but you didn't know where the hell that was going to be, where in the world that was going to be. And then it showed up for you and you acted on it. When the opportunity came up. Had you not acknowledged that this is showing up for me because this is what I asked for, because so many times we brush things off. Like we'll plant seeds, and then when they show up for us, we're like, well, this can't be it, because it doesn't seem like it's anything real. But the truth is that when you are as aligned as you got with the feeling of home, you can't miss the opportunities. That bridge of incidents, you get carried across that bridge of incidents like so naturally. So what would you say to, go ahead.
Yeah, what would I say to
someone who is really really wanting to cling on to the how is it going to happen?
Right. Living in the how. I will say, up until this point, I have always been the king of making this hard. So, but
my experience,
I digress. No, what I did was I listened to Lyndall's advice. He said that I should just Well, and the thing is, 20 has also said this to me too, but he said, don't worry about where home is going to be. Just imagine being home. Just go. Lynn will literally say, go into the closet, close the door, put some paper napkins in my ears, because that's what
You're a
he
dad, so
did.
you kind of sometimes you have to do that. Sometimes we
Sometimes you
have to
just
go in
gotta,
the closet. If you want
I'm
quiet,
just
sometimes
like,
we have to go in the closet.
ah,
Yeah.
silence, silence. Ah, I am God. I am God.
Did you eat a candy bar too while you were there, so your son wouldn't want one? They say parents have to eat candy bars in the closet so the kids don't
Yeah.
want one.
Yeah. Just gotta like have your stash.
Yeah. So you were in the closet.
So, so, so I'm in the closet, and sorry.
Oh my
So
God,
I'm in the
funny.
closet, and I'm really just imagining home. So really,
Yeah.
I was finding stillness,
Mhm.
and I'm finding stillness in the presence, and I was really just trying to breathe and get to the state that I actually desired. And any like just, and I just made it just routine out of doing that. And I, again, I'm telling this as part of my story. This
Mhm.
isn't something I necessarily am recommending that anybody does. You
Mhm.
do what's right for you
Yeah.
in wherever you are, in whatever stage you are. But for me, in the state that I was in, the best thing for me to do was go and take a chill pill and just imagine being home and allow it to happen. My wife and I had been discussing moving to Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas,
And where were you living at the time?
Chicago,
Yeah.
Chicago, Illinois. So we're living in Chicago. We've talked about Tennessee, Oklahoma, Texas, North Carolina, even Utah. Hawaii made it on the list, but it wasn't. We didn't take it seriously. As I'm imagining, eventually get to this place where like I could see my son in the distance, and my feet were up, and I felt the tropical air, and I was just, it felt good, and I just let it go. You know, you just let it, you just let it go. You just don't want to do it anymore. I stopped doing the meditation, all that type of stuff. And then on January 8th, I woke up at 3:30 in the morning feeling like I lived in Hawaii. I just, I was like, oh, like it was, there was just this knowing, and I shook it off, and I'm like, I live in Chicago. And then
Had
I
you
see
ever
this mess.
had
Mhm.
you ever been to Hawaii at that point?
I'd been to Honolulu and Maui in 2017,
Okay.
but it definitely is nothing like where we live now, where I call home now. And anyways, all that said, we did all that. I did all that, and on that morning, I saw on my phone there was a notification: one-way tickets to Hawaii for $99. And I was like, oh. So 6 weeks later, we moved to Hawaii, and 6 weeks after that, we're just, I mean, it's just, and it just keeps going. And as I keep going and I realize how it is that this works, I've discovered that it can be easier. It can be even easier. It can be more fun.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be stagnant, because everything is, it's, I'm one with all that is. You know, the very power that created and sustains the universe is within me. In
Uh-huh.
fact, it's closer than being in me. It is me. It is
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
awareness. And that awareness is where I went in my imagination when I saw my son
Yeah.
and saw my knees up. And
Yeah.
then I walked a bridge of incident that got me to that point, which was about 3 weeks ago. I was chilling on the black sand beach. My son's playing in, and I just had
It
that
clicked.
feeling.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
was like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah. I had that with
And
my relationship too. Yeah. Go on.
so, yeah, you get it, right?
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, the contacts that my wife has made, my wife even said to me, she's like, Jerry, I'm working less hours, but I'm making more money, and we have the freedom to travel around. Our landlady is wonderful, and she's showing us around all these people. We're meeting people everywhere we go. There's a monk that travels, just walks everywhere every day, just walks around.
Yeah. I
I
remember
feel like I live in Twin Peaks.
It sounds, I mean, it sounds surreal, but it's funny because had someone told you like let's say 6 months ago, let's go as far back as 6 months, that you would be living in Hawaii and having all these experiences?
No way.
Yeah.
No way. I had 6 months ago. 6 months ago, what would that have been? That was the beginning of the year, essentially. No, that's December.
It was the end of last year, yeah.
It was the end of last year. So December of last year, I
Or
would
November.
not have guessed that I'd be living in Hawaii and doing what I'm doing right now in Hawaii. I would have assumed that I was like teaching. That part,
Yeah.
I would have assumed. But but Hawaii, no, not at all. Not at all. I can't. I'm almost put at silence at how that was 6 months
That's
ago,
baffling.
and I wouldn't.
It wasn't even like, that's the kind of trust I'm talking about. Like of just trusting that when you can just feel the feeling of what you want,
Right,
and not have this like firm grip over what it might look like, because I think when we think of the power of visualization, we tend to turn that to, okay, so now we have to know what it looks like in order to visualize it. But that's where Neville's stuff is just so, it cuts through all that. And it's like, okay, forget that, because the whole point of visualization is to get to the feeling, to get to the core of it.
right.
So when you can just feel what home feels like to you, then it will be brought to you.
The vision was brought to me.
Because everything we've ever wanted in life, like it
Mhm.
gets saved. Like it's this is what Abraham calls like what your
Putting
vortex,
in the
right? Or
vortex.
your vibrational
Mhm.
vibrational escrow, whatever. Every time you ever looked at something and appreciated it, every time you ever experienced contrast and didn't like something, the opposite of that became, you became aware of the opposite of that, which is what you do want. So all of that is remembered, and we don't remember that with our conscious mind. So we worry like, oh, but how do we know it's going to work out the way I want it to be? Well, because all that stuff that we forgot in our memory is stored for use of our our God self, to put that to use and to give that to us when we match the feeling of it. So that's that's just, if you want to match the feeling of home, you want to match the feeling of a relationship, you want to match the feeling of your physical well-being, you want to match the feeling of fill in the blank, and just know that that is the shortcut. That is actually the shortcut. And if we don't try to micromanage it, it's pretty awesome.
It's not only the shortcut, it is the cut.
Yeah.
It's the only cut. There's only one cut.
Yeah. Anything that we do to, in addition to that, or trying to add to it, is just avoiding that actual way to it.
Yeah.
And we're going, like this, and then, taking that. So what most people who don't understand, who never learned Neville's work or law of attraction stuff, they think that it's that struggle that brought them to that point. But the struggle was unnecessary, so. But people don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that they struggled for nothing.
Well, you know what? I'm going to bring up Lyndall again, because I'm thinking about, a lot of times I'll either go, what would Lyndall say, what would Neville say, or what would 20 say, and some other people. What would Socrates say? But Lyndall would say to that, Well, you have to, like they themselves are makers of themselves. So like the folks that are coming in and saying they don't want to hear that, right? They're the ones who are denying themselves. It's like, yeah, the struggle got you to where you are, but you created that struggle so you can finally get to a place to where you can experience who you truly are.
Because that was their
You know,
paradigm, because that's what they believed would work. So
exactly.
it was required on their bridge, you know, but it was not necessary. Yeah. But I mean, how awesome is it to know that, you know, we don't need to, you know, we still do sometimes. I think everybody does sometimes. We make it more complicated than it has to be. This is not about like always being this way. It's just about remembering that it's this way. It's just about reminding ourselves, because it's funny because everyone says, oh, the small things come so easily, but the big things, you know, for some reason this one thing isn't happening. And it's not about the thing. It's not because this is harder for you to tap into or to feel the state of. It's because you're seeing it as this, you're assigning it this huge thing of like, this is big, this would, you know, actually it's just a natural thing. If you start seeing it as natural, anything becomes natural, and then it just happens. So yeah, it's I think we're, I don't want to say lucky, but it's nice to be aware of that, and that we've been exposed to teachers who have reminded us that, and we get to share it with other people.
I'm looking around my room right now at the things that are big and small, and then realizing that none of them at all are big and small. Because it's like, in comparison to what? Like, there's a globe right there. There's this big, huge lamp fixture. There's my little iPod case, and there's that towel there, and pillow there. And it's like, just in comparison with one another, it's not until I actually look at it and I'm like, is this big, that I have any idea that it's big or small.
Yeah.
It's not like,
it's all relative.
It's all relative. And then ultimately, and this is something I learned from 20, ultimately, I am the biggest thing here, because I am is all there is.
You permeate through all those things. Like there is no separation even. So when you realize that a part of you, that you, what you are, is also that is everything, then how do you even judge what is big and small, or what is here and there? It completely changes your perspective on what's possible, what's not possible. And it literally, it's just how straight to the point is it that Neville says creation is done. Like if you can think about, if you have a desire, that is
it implies its fulfillment.
Yeah, it's the word of God.
The desire itself implies the fulfillment.
That it already exists, and it is the word of God. Once you have a desire, once you're aware of the desire, then it's kind of like, I really like this this rhyme, or the saying that I came up with a few days ago. I was with a client, I keep remembering it, that desire is direction. Desire is direction. Like we think of desire as something that like is selfish, or if we think about our desire, someone else is missing out on something, or we're not giving priority to other things. But the whole reason we have a desire is because it gives us direction on what to do and where to go towards. So yeah. It's a nice design. It's a nice design.
It's a grand design.
Yeah. Oh my God. So let me see. Let me look at the clock and see how we're doing with time. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't look at the time to see when we
started. I think we're about like 40 minutes. But so
okay,
before we conclude this call, because you're Hawaii time, I'm LA time. I'm sure that, you know, Daddy's not putting daughter to bed, even though it's like super late right now. It was his job to do so, but I'm probably gonna have to go yell at everybody and say, why aren't you in bed yet? So, but before we go, I wanna ask you. So, I mean, I've already said that you're a teacher, you're an imagination teacher, and you know Neville stuff really good, and you speak, and we do these Clubhouse rooms. But What do you offer? Like, because people are going to watch this,
Mm.
and a lot of people are going to be interested in, like, working with you or learning more about how you teach and what your platforms are. So do you want to share a little bit about like what you're offering right now that people could take part in?
Well, one of the offers that I have is the Neville Goddard Book Club,
Yeah.
which is sold out right now. But I think I'll do it again next month and see how. But we'll see how this month goes. But what that is we're breaking down four Neville pieces of content: two books, two lectures, 2 hours each. And we're going to listen to Neville together, like as if we were at the Wilshire Theater or whatever, just like actually just sit there and listen in the silence together. And then afterwards, we're going to talk insights. We're going to discuss insights, ask some questions. And through that, we're going to come up with an exercise or something to put to the test for the week. Come back and report more the next week and this and the other. So it's an opportunity for people who are really about self-study. They're not looking for a coach or anything like that. They just want to be amongst a community. That's what I'm doing. And then I also offer one-on-one coaching.
I was going to ask you if you have any spots available right now.
I do have spots available, but but if you want to connect with me on that,
I'll put a link to your whatever you need, for people to
cool.
find you under the video. But what was I gonna say? Aside from that, sorry, go on with what you were saying, because so what this is something that the whole book club thing is something that I think is, first of all, I want to say it's awesome, because a lot of people are tired of going on forums, and Facebook can be great sometimes, but sometimes not, because it can be overwhelming, honestly. Like I'm part of so many Facebook groups, not that I'm really active in any of them usually, sometimes, but it gets overwhelming because there's a lot of information out there, but like there's a lot of people giving their own opinions, and sometimes there's honestly more negativity in there than other forums that are not even law of attraction or Neville based. So I really like that you're doing the book study, type of setting, which is great, because I mean, you're just directly reading from Neville, and then you're allowing it to be a small enough group that people can actually just ask questions or share their thoughts on the moment, and
right.
While this is something that I encourage everybody to do, even if it's not with someone who's as knowledgeable as you are on Neville, it's such an advantage that they get to do that with you, because it's a small group and they can just ask you, like, hey, I've always wondered, like, exactly what does this mean, or how does this apply to my situation, because we don't get to do that. Like, even though like there's Facebook and there's Reddit and there's all these like forums, it seems like it makes it easier to ask questions, but I think it makes it harder to ask questions, because you get bombarded with so many different views that a lot of times they just need someone like you to kind of like give that answer that isn't like polluted with a bunch of negativity and yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's exactly what I would have wanted when I was first new to Neville. Like within my first like 6 months of learning Neville to a year of like learning Neville, I wish there was a community that people I could just talk to. I'm someone who obviously enjoys conversation, and doing, talking Neville, and just like you just described, talking Neville online, though it was helpful and fruitful and I made a lot of friends, it's just not me. I'm just not the clickety clack guy. I'm the let's rap. Let's joke about this. Let's see how we could have played this differently in the moment. So that's that. Also, I offer one-on-one coaching, and the way that works is you hit me up on DM. I think it's in my link tree. Just hit me up on Instagram. It's cool.
You're in Instagram. You're human.imagination, right, on Instagram?
Yep.
I'll link
I'm
them.
not very active on there. I should get more active
But
on there.
but it's honestly like a good way to contact you. Like it's actually the most direct way I think to contact you from.
It's actually it's right now it's probably the best way to contact me. Even though I don't post on there very often.
Yeah.
I'm very active. That's how and then I guess I should also plug Clubhouse, which is where we hang out together.
I think that's why Instagram is like a main place of contact for you as well as for me, because it's connected to Clubhouse. So we're kind of forced to be on Instagram a lot, because anybody who contacts us who we met through Clubhouse, it has to do with their Instagram. So it's kind of like they're married to each other in a way. So
I kind of like it though.
Yeah, I like it too, because they're simple platforms. They're not like Facebook. I get overwhelmed by, because it's like a lot of stuff to look at when you open it. But so, and Jerry and I are, by the way, guys, are very similar in the sense that we do not like push our stuff. We do not say, hey, be coached by me. We only work if like someone comes to us and wants the coaching, then we do it. And luckily we know how to how to manifest the experiences we want. So honestly, I think it's awesome, because we get to work with people who really want to work with us, and in different ways and different budgets and stuff. So like this isn't like a shameless plug to like buy anything from us or whatever. This is just whoever is actually interested, in learning more about Jerry, and like, because I mean, we were talking a little bit about this like right before the call, right? That people need to hear it from different perspectives sometimes. Like yes, Neville covered it all. Neville has all the information out there, but sometimes people want to hear it in different words or from a different perspective. And you bring your experiences to this as well, like, because there are a lot of people who in this day and age, as much as Neville's teachings are timeless, it's cool to experience it through someone.
He spoke a language that the people of his time understood, and I speak a language people of my generation understand. I mean, as you know, like I used to have that one show on Facebook called Music Mindset Monologue, which I would like take pop music and like tie it into the same words or to what Neville said, and show the parallels, so that people, as they're listening to pop music driving down the street, they're like, they don't have to listen to Neville, they can listen to Michael Jackson or Boyz II Men or Whitney Houston or whomever, even Biggie. And so my ability, one thing I should say this, Armine, for the people who are interested in the type of people I seem to be good at coaching are like artists and like painters, actors, writers, people who just aren't necessarily analytical. Although I do love working with introverted like nerds. So I'll put that out there as well. But the reason why I like working with those type of people is because that's who I am. It's just who I am. I'm an artist. I see visually. I'm a trained actor. I get them. I understand how to think and visualize in my imagination. I help people navigate what they're imagining, and then I get them to that moment, and they're like, and I can see when they see it. It's so fun. It's just like that. Anyways, so
as a side note, do you think that it's funny that there often seems to be a connection between people who teach, like who are truth teachers, let's call it, and who have had a history of some sort of performing arts or some sort of arts? Because obviously Neville was a dancer, right? He was like a dancer. That was what he was trained for, and he was a really, really good dancer too. And then he ended up dropping that and going to his new interest, which was metaphysics. But I don't know. It seems.
I think about that quite often. I'm like, his story is very similar to mine. I'm like, why am I doing this?
It freaks me out sometimes too, because honestly, well, I was never an actress. I wanted to be an actress for my entire life until I moved to LA. But anyway, So but it freaked me out a little bit that he moved from New York to LA and I moved from New York to LA, and I know where I know the place. I've been to the places where he taught over there. Like have you been to the Actors Church? It's like across from Eugene O'Neill Theater. So and then now I like visit the places that he used to teach over here. So it's like it's kind of weird, but like so I actually this is actually something I wanted to ask you, but I hadn't like planned out. Is do you think that your background in acting and that type of field, do you think it's helped you in understanding Neville's work more or in applying it?
Yes. Definitely with visualization and imagining as if.
Yeah.
I'll never forget one of my acting teachers, Miss Judith Nurkin. Love that woman. And one of the first things she taught me that first semester there was this idea of the moment before. So right before you're entering a scene and you're about to open the door, where did you just come from? What did you like? Was it raining outside? Did you have to run in from the taxi? Is the taxi still waiting for you?
Yes,
all this context, all this stuff. And she had us like write it all down, and like we have to like do this whole thing about this moment before. And then once you get all that, and then you do the exercise when you open the door and you walk in, and then she'll say, "No, you don't look like you're wet," and all this stuff. Anyways.
Yeah.
But since learning Neville, I've been able to apply that same thing to living in the end, to imagining the scene, so I don't necessarily do the moment before, but I will do what's the moment after.
Yeah.
Right. So like, that's another thing we did in my acting classes. Like, so when you leave a scene, like, what are you doing afterwards? What's carrying on to the next scene that you enter in on the stage? And when you play there and you start to realize that that's how this whole game of life is going, that's what I learned from Neville, was just like, whoa, I learned how to do all this anyways. Like, in a way, there was this like journey that I've always been on that had me go through all these experiences, like being an acting student or being a radio DJ. And I thought it was because I was supposed to entertain and stuff. It turns out that I'm supposed to teach.
It was part of that bridge to help you, perfect that in a way. Now that you can acknowledge that was helpful to you, like to learn that stuff. Does that mean to you that it's less accessible to people who didn't have that experience? No, because why? Because you learned that, right? Somehow, and they can learn it too. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, that, yes. And as I've come to simplify it, and as I've had more and more conversations with different people, it's everything. Everything external to self is just a tool to give you an experience.
Yeah.
So if you're not able to visualize, doesn't matter. If you're not able to hear a thing, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
If you're not able to do sats, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
The only thing that matters is that you are all imagination. And that if you know and you assume it to be true, it is so. The reason why we talk about a lot of these tools and techniques is because that's the tools we use, that we learned in order for us to understand this very fundamental truth that's actually been with us since before we were here. Yeah. So no, I don't think you need to visualize or do any of these techniques to do it. Did that land? Did I answer your question?
I think that was clear. that is clear, because it's not about, everyone's going to have their own way anyway of feeling into states and of choosing their self-concept, and because that's kind of what you were learning. You were learning as Jerry the actor, you were learning in that moment, okay, I'm about to walk in as this character. Who is this character and what did they just come from and what state are they in? Because obviously the state you're in is very dependent on the state you just came from, like you carried over. So it's just like saying Jerry was the old man, now you're the new man who is this character that you're playing. And like every, I think, truth teacher has mentioned, the world is a stage. Like you are playing a character, you're always acting, whether you think that it's authentic or you think that it's fake, it doesn't matter, because you are either way you're taking on some kind of self-concept, and whether it's true or not doesn't matter, because if you convince yourself of it, then you do become that. So it's really just about like what character you're going to decide to be. So I think that's kind of,
and you get to choose. You get to choose any day. It's always today.
Yeah.
So it's just, again, back to Lindell, man.
Lindell, yeah.
Choose ye this day.
Choose ye this day, yeah.
You're always thinking ahead of your evidence. I mean, it's just I'm laughing because it's so simple.
Yeah, and that's what you say, Lindell always, because you've talked to him way more than I have, and it's just like, because I know you were saying that, like, if you ask him something, or if there's like a moment of frustration that you might have, he just comes back to you with the simple answer, right? It's like, but that's what you need to hear. And we do. It's funny, and that's so important that we still experience that, because if we lose touch with that, then we're not going to be this effective teachers that we want to be, because we have to remember what that feels like. And that's why when I tell people, like when I'm on the phone with them, I'll say, this is probably going to piss you off right now, but I'm going to say that, because it'll if someone's feeling, let's say, not believing, if someone's feeling very doubtful in that moment, and you say, no, this is actually, it is real, this is happening for you, and it's just a matter of tapping into it. They don't want to hear that in that moment, because if they're nice, they're not going to say that to me, but they're thinking she's full of shit. Sorry. But because from where they're feeling about the topic in the moment, they're just feeling all the doubt, all the evidence that it's not there yet, or all that stuff. And then, so for me to kind of say, because I'll never agree with someone when they say it's not possible, I'll say, if you don't want it anymore, you can choose to not want it anymore, but nothing goes to waste, because you've planted seeds, and in any moment, it's your choice, anyway, what you want. So yeah, I don't know, it's just, what
I like to think that when folks are working with me, that I do enter the state of Abdullah. I do have a tendency of falling into that state where it's just like, it's done.
It's funny, because at some point it's like you can't even talk anymore, because it's like it's done already, so there's really nothing else to talk about. That's why, honestly, when people think that a session, let's say, is more valuable the longer it is, that's not true, because sometimes a short session is,
that's all you
sometimes
need.
It naturally ends at the point that leaves them, in the state, and that's it. It's not about like the more you spend time with us, or the more you listen to Neville, even the longer you're listening, the more effective it is. No,
right.
Even when you're watching,
were you in the room? Were you in the room this morning when Adam was saying he was trying to manifest running in the marathon, and one of his issues was like raising money? And anyway, so he was sharing that story with us, and he was dwelling on all the doubt, dwelling on all the worry, and this and the other, and like, I caught him, and let's ask him questions, that would lead him back the other direction. And then we just got into this mode where we were kind of just like imagining the end, like all the different things that would happen, and just like trailing on all these possibilities. And then I asked him this question randomly, and he knew exactly what I was asking. And his response to it was, "Oh yeah." And it took all of like 5 minutes, and that's all we needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now he has that feeling, and he can go on.
Yeah.
He has it now. It's done. Well, as far as I'm concerned, it's done. It's done.
Yeah. Isn't it funny how the most important part is the part that most people would brush off, you know? The most important part is that moment of relief and just contact with that. Yeah, like, yeah, okay. Like that's all. That's what
That's
it is.
all.
Once
That's
you
it.
have that, forget it. Once you have that, it's already done. Like, don't even like give it another.
That just every time something like that happens, it's like da-na-na-na. It's like when you open the box in The Legend of Zelda, and like the rupee comes out, and he's like da-na-na-na. It's done. It's just celebrate right now. Thank you. Got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Put the seed in the dirt. Put the dirt over the seed.
That's it. Job is done. Yeah. Our work is done. Yeah.
And anytime the doubt and the worry or whatever comes up, just go back and just da-na-na-na. Like it's already done. Just remind yourself, go back to that feeling of, oh yeah, and just let it be done.
Yeah. Could it be any simpler and more fun? Like, the whole process is just enjoying the feeling of it, you know? But yeah, it's good work. Remember, we were saying before we started this, it's good work if you can get it, and you can get it if you try. So we have a nice purpose, I think. Yep.
I love it. It's fun. It's definitely fun. So
yeah.
Thank you for this.
No, thank you. I mean, like, seriously, like, what better you know, excuse was there to make a video than to sit down and chat with you. I'm also gonna, well, actually, can I put Clubhouse information under the video? Yeah, probably, right? So if you're on Clubhouse, guys, just join the Neville. It's called Neville Goddard, right? Your club.
Mm-hmm. It's just called Neville Goddard.
Neville Goddard. It's a club. All you do is you just look it up. If you don't have a club, if you're not on Clubhouse, let me know, message me, and I have a couple invites, so I'll invite you, because invite only still, and it's only iPhone right now, but I use it on my iPad. You could use it on the iPad or anything, any iOS device. So yeah, if you're on Clubhouse already, look up Neville Goddard, the club, and that's where Jerry hosts his rooms, and it's a lot of fun. He does it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Tell them the time zone.
Yeah, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, at 9:30 a.m. Hawaii time,
which is
and that's
12:30 Pacific, 2:30 Central time. So yeah, which would be what, 3:30 East Coast.
3:30 Eastern, New York time.
Eastern. Yeah.
And and on Mondays they actually start at 10. I apologize, but Mondays start at 10 a.m. and then Wednesday and Thursday start at 9:30, and they go around. They're about 3 hours long. You don't have to be there at all. You don't have to be there at the whole time. You can pop in, pop out.
Yeah, pop in, pop out, because we go on for hours. I usually am not there in the very beginning of the room, but I come in like 30 minutes or an hour in. Like when
you come in about 30 minutes in. 20 comes in about an hour to an hour and a half in, and he only pops in for a cameo. So if you're ever looking for an opportunity to have a conversation with him, I highly recommend checking him out. Also, we have Gabriel, who's also an Instagrammer. Gabriel's on there, and some other folks that aren't necessarily social media folks, but are master manifestors.
Yeah, like this is why I'm like really like pitching, like not pitching, but like I'm like really promoting this Clubhouse thing, because first of all, it's not going to cost you anything. It costs you nothing.
Completely free.
It costs you nothing, and we're just like sitting in like, we're not going to sell you anything. Like when I told you guys, when I asked Jerry about what he's offering, so you guys, like, if you're interested, anybody would have that information. Like, that's the most pitching I've ever done. so don't, like, no one's going to sell you. That's not even pitching. That was just me asking a question. But like, no one's going to, you know, try to
it's literally just
a
community.
We're
just
just
people
hanging
talking.
out. We're just hanging out and talking about how awesome it is. You know, how Neville's teachings are awesome. How we are, each of us are currently, you know, each of us are manifesting what we've recently manifested, what we did, what we're doing, what we like to do now. And there's always like a specific topic that Jerry, or, you know, as a group, is chosen, and it's very it's
organic.
Yeah, organic. And as you guys know, Neville's teachings are like, it can be like about, like, I am, let's say, you know, self-image, but everything applies to that. And it could be about, you know, feeling it real. Anything is going to apply to that. So there's a lot of room for lots of different conversation. And it's just a nice, small, I want to say small, but it's perfect, intimate group that, like, it's not like, you know, like how some law of attraction rooms are like 1,000 people in there. It's not going to be like that. If you want, you can just listen. If you want to talk, you're definitely going to be able to talk to us. So that's what's cool about that. So
it's a free opportunity to work with some practitioners, some demonstrators of the law, and just meet other man. I'm telling you,
I've met so many people through your room. Yeah, so many.
Great, that's amazing. That's exactly what the room is for people to meet each other. Because I'm telling you, when I was first studying this stuff years ago, I wish I had people to talk to about this. My mom, my dad, my brother, like, they didn't want to hear this.
Here.
As much as I love them, they didn't want to hear this. None of my friends, I'm married, my wife barely wants to hear any of this. And so, you know, it's like, you know, so for me, having this opportunity to create a room and facilitate these type of conversations means a lot to me, and I'm glad that it's making an impact. So it's cool.
Yeah, like everyone in that room is cool. Like I've never like experienced anybody in a room who's even annoying. Like, no one's even annoying in that room. Everyone is
different walks of life too.
Different places, different experiences, different like
desires,
whatever. Different desires. Yeah, like people are. Yeah, that's this video should be called "Things We Love About Jerry's Neville Goddard Room."
Wait till the end.
Oh my god, that's so funny. Yeah, no, it's it's fun. So if you guys want to, if you're on Clubhouse, find it and join us if you like. If no one's gonna, we're not gonna like sell anything to you there. I mean, of course, if you guys, you know, are interested in more stuff, it's available. But
well, I'll say this because that's not quite true. So in the middle of the broadcast, like maybe 3 times during the thing, I'll do the plug where, you know, I say everybody follow everybody, and then, you know, I say join the club.
What's
and then if I do have something to offer, then I'll say what it is. But like, it's literally just so I can, you know, pay the bills. But
that's not going to bother anybody. It's not like a sales. It's not like those webinars you have to watch and then at the end,
oh yeah, no.
They're gonna bombard you with stuff to just buy their product. That's not what this is.
How many times have I done that?
How many times have I fallen for that? How many times have I personally just signed up for something because it sounded like an interesting online event, and then like 3 emails a day, you know, constantly, and I'm like, I don't even go to the online event anymore because I'm so tired of just getting the reminders for it. Yeah. So.
Oh gosh, yeah. It's just not. We aren't like that, Armine. We're just coaches organic. That want to help. We're organic.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a dad. Yeah. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. People are so excited that, you know, me and my family live here in Hawaii, and they think it's this whole magical thing. And I'm like, no, I'm still living. We still gotta, you know, eat food, and we still have our bickering, and we still live our life. So it's not magical. And why I say that is because all the gurus out there, all the marketing gurus, and you can do it today and all this stuff. They're right. You can do it today. They are very right. That is not a fib. But how do you know that what you want is actually what you want? And how do you know that what you want is truly your deepest desire? And that's what I want to help people explore. Like when they're going and they want something and they desire something, I'm not going to be able to sell that with marketing tactics and things like that. Like it comes organically in conversation.
Yeah.
And that's why I do Clubhouse, because it's an opportunity to be there for people the way I like to be there for people.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point, because like a lot of times, like we were talking about, like people say like this is a small thing, it's easy to manifest, the big things are harder. But I think part of what makes the big things, like a life-changing move to Hawaii, some people might find that like a huge thing. You know why it seems huge? Because they think that if I manifest this, my life will be perfect and it will be ideal. But no one manifestation or no one step in your life makes your entire life perfect. You got to get that out of your head. It's about, we're choosing where we prefer to live, but and that's awesome, because we're choosing we are choosing a place that feels like this to live, and it happens to be a beautiful place, and we end up there. It doesn't mean that thing, when it happens, is the be all and end all. And that's really important. And I'm not saying this at all in a negative way, but when Neville said make it feel natural, I think that's part of what he meant. Stop thinking that when I have this, everything will be, I'll have no problems, or when I have this, I'll never want anything else. No, that's gonna be your new point to grow from. Like Jerry moved to Hawaii, moved his family to Hawaii, and it's not like, okay, that's it, that's the end. No, and then they wanted a different house to live in, and then they're gonna want different aspects of their life to grow over there. It's not about a final destination. We say keep the end in mind, but as far as we know, we want this feeling, you get that feeling, and then that's your next jump off point. So that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of being human, that we constantly get to manifest what we want step by step. So don't assign too much significance to one thing, because you can't feel natural if it feels like this is what's going to save your life. It's beautiful things that you're manifesting bit by bit, and I think that's a nice way to look at it. So
wherever you go, there you are.
Incredibly philosophical. Yes, exactly. So thank you, Jerry. I mean, we can go on talking forever. We know this already.
I know that's why I said that short button, because it's like, if I say anything more than this, we'll continue to talk for hours on end. We love this. We truly do.
Yeah. I just have to remember that there's other people listening, because otherwise, if this was just a conversation between the usual, us and the moderators of your room, then it would go on forever. But so guys, go and listen to a Neville video now, or just go into the silence.
I highly recommend. I actually, you know what? I think that this was a good conversation that we had, and I would actually recommend, if anybody's so inclined, to actually go back and listen to this recording again. Not for the plugs and all that stuff, but like the conversation that Armine and I had, and really glean what's coming up for you, what stories are coming up for you, what feelings, what aha moments are coming up for you, and go with those feelings. Go play with those feelings, and again, go back into the comment section and let us know what you find out. So.
Yeah, if you guys want to see more of Jerry, let me know, and I'll bring him on again. I mean, like I said, it's just a good excuse for me to make a video. Just hang out with a friend. What else is better? So thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Jerry, for coming. I'm gonna have all the information in the video, in the description of the video, so you guys can get in touch with Jerry. If you guys want to get in touch with me, I'm doing one-on-one coaching if you guys are interested. If not, whatever, it's no problem. But I am also offering a new email coaching membership. So that's something that, if you guys are interested, let me know. It's for people, honestly, like who think they don't have the budget, because we all have unlimited budget, right, for who we really are. But people who don't want to spend money on sessions and stuff, it's email coaching, so the price is a lot more reasonable for a lot of people, and also honestly it's just convenient for a lot of people because we don't have to like do Zooms, and it's email based at our convenience. So that's about it, guys. Come talk to us on Clubhouse. It's so awesome. Why wouldn't you want to come? It's amazing. I was so resistant of like downloading another app. I was like, oh, another app, yeah, right, I don't want to do it. But like honestly, like Clubhouse is the best. Like it's the best platform I've ever used. So sorry, YouTube.
It's definitely great for it's definitely great for those who really want to have the discussions, the deeper dives.
Yeah, yeah, like to actually get results, like talk and get results. That's it. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Jerry. Thank you, guys. I think Jerry, you got to press your recording on your side. So you got to press it. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.